All right, and welcome back. This portion of the build seems like it takes forever. It's a fairly large section in the instruction manual, and it's playing out that way. I was hoping to have this video catch everything up to where I am, but there's just so much that's involved. And kind of to reiterate, I'm putting these videos together for others who are working on this project on the RV14 and may have a question about how something was done. And so I'm including more than what many folks do just for that purpose. But I'm also trying to get rid of the monotonous minutiae. Like I talked about in the previous video, I'm not showing all the prep work, or at least minimizing that as much as I can. Not showing that everything's getting primed and things like that. So trying to cut all of that out, and there's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of little things. Here you see me attaching I call it the aft bulkhead, and this is where the seat back will rest against that top bar there. Now, top bar you see is not primed. That's because it's only there temporarily, just to kind of hold that frame together to keep it all squared up. I'll be removing that here shortly, and then one of the later sections deals with actually installing that portion. Now here I'm starting to work with the bottom skins, getting them prepared. In this portion, I'm simply cutting out a portion of the forward bottom skins that are cleco to the center bottom skin. There's a rectangular cutout in the center bottom skin that you have to transcribe over to the forward two skins there. And here you'll see me disconnecting everything, and I'm going to actually cut that piece out. I believe that's where the landing gear, the main landing gear, comes in. And so you're just matching that rectangular hole and then cutting that out. So there's a lot of prep work similar to this. And so you're kind of putting this together and then taking it back apart and kind of going from there, as is usual with this build. The rest of this is, as you can see, I've talked before what I would call the prime wars. A lot of folks are on the fence one way or the other, and they are very decisive one way or the other that either they're going to prime or they're not going to prime. I've put primer on just the contact points up to this point. For the wings, all the ribs, the flanges of the ribs, and where the ribs met the wing skin, I primed those areas because they're high contact and higher likelihood that if there is going to be any kind of rust or anything like that, any corrosion, then that's the point where it's going to be between the mating surfaces. So that's where I've focused because I didn't want to put too much excess weight. The skins on these are very resistant to corrosion. My grandfather-in-law built an RV4, and he had that up in Washington. Never put any primer on the inside of it, and he just sold it recently, and the inspection was just flawless when he went to sell it. So I'm not too concerned as it is with primer. However, in the fuselage area, I've decided to go ahead and put the primer in that portion just because that's where most of the interaction is going to be with the aircraft parts. So as far as, that's where the people are going to be in just a little bit higher likelihood that something, in my mind anyway, could happen inside the fuselage. The wings, you never get inside of except for inspections. So that's kind of my thought process. But something that I am going to try is to paint my own airplane, and that's including the interior. And today I actually went down and I purchased some two-part epoxy primer that I'm going to try and use that on the interior. The surfaces that you'll see, that you'll touch, that you'll rub against, those surfaces on the interior, I'm going to use this two-part epoxy. I had thought of just using the spray can self-etching primer that I've been using that you see on everything here. but I've come to find that it does flake fairly easily, which I was surprised by. I'm not sure if I'm just not applying it the same as I had in the past, or if it's the difference between using it in Arizona in the arid climate to where now I'm in Oregon and it's a little more humid. I'm not sure what the cause is, but it does flake a little more easily than I recall in the past. So I figure with the epoxy paint, that's going to hold up really well to normal wear and tear, people getting in and out of the aircraft. So that's what I'm going to try. I've got to figure out how to actually apply it. I think I have everything, and I'm actually pretty excited about trying to do it. So we'll see how that goes. I'll put a video together of that to kind of show the process and in my trials and errors, and hopefully it comes out really well. I'm pretty excited about it. So now I'm just attaching the stiffener that goes across the bottom skins here, and this will interact or integrate with the ribs for the seating ribs that I've been assembling. It's kind of a difficult fit when I first put it in, and you'll see as I put the assembly in place that I kind of have to maneuver it and tweak it and work with it to get it to fit over these pieces here that are sticking up. And then later on, there's a second post that gets installed right about where my hand is, right in that section there, that attaches to the next rib in, just for added stability. So as I'm working with this, it's getting closer and closer to where I'm actually at. I've actually just finished this section, so I've got this whole assembly completed, and it's a lot of just the same stuff over and over. So there are definitely some interesting aspects of the baggage ribs areas, which is the part aft of this, and this is where you see me trying to kind of finagle to put everything in place, and it's just at first it was not fitting very well. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. As I said, I'm getting excited about trying to actually paint this thing on my own, but I'm also starting to get into other areas. Like I said, I finished this section finally at the time of this recording, and I'm now starting to work on the firewall and some of the other pieces in sections to kind of get this going. So it's really starting to come together, and it's really starting to look like an actual component, and so it's getting exciting. So the next video will show finishing up the baggage ribs areas and getting this thing completed, and then following that I'll start getting into the firewall forward construction and getting into hopefully be able to get a video out of how I actually paint this and do the interior work. And that part I am really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun to learn how to do, and then be able to go forward with that. That's kind of one of the things I've been interested in. So I'll be building a paint shop or a paint booth in my shop, and I've got all the tarp and things like that to set it up, and hopefully it will come out as I plan. So anyway, again, for those that continue to watch these videos, I appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, by all means, leave them down below. I try to get back to everybody as soon as I can, and I enjoy interacting with folks and kind of talking shop if you want. So anyway, we'll see you next time.